Fortnite controller pros keep a lot of secrets to keep their competitive edge. A lot of times they won't tell anybody about their certain strategies, their certain exploits. Sometimes the top controller players even keep their settings a secret for months at a time. I've paid attention and caught on to some of these secrets that can help improve your skill a ton, and now I'm gonna share them with you. Now for the first secret tip. Lots of Fortnite controller pros are sponsored by controller companies like Scuff. When they're sponsored, they'll sit there and sell the controller to you as it being the best controller possible. These controllers usually cost between $200 and $300, and while they're cool and useful, you can build your own completely custom pro controller setup for way cheaper. Anyone that's played on PlayStation has their standard base DualShock controller. It doesn't matter whether it's PS4 or PS5, you can literally decide the features that you want and then go buy those features from stores like Amazon. You can literally buy any and every single pro controller feature. On my PS4 controller setup, I like having a controller grip, I like having a thumbstick grip, I like having 4 paddles, I like having clicky buttons, and I like having trigger stops. These are basically all the pro controller features, and I bought each one of them separate from Amazon. My thumbstick grip is $15 from Control Free. My controller grip is $17 from Lizard Skin. My clicky buttons and trigger stops are $20 from Extreme Rate. And then my paddles are $45 from Collected Minds. A setup from Scuff with all those same features literally cost $230. And I did it just on my normal PS4 controller plus $97 in accessories. And I even like that setup more than my custom Scuff Impact, which I did pay $250 for. The next tip is geared towards players that play controller on PC. And it might also apply to players that have keyboard and mouse plugged into their console. If you fall into either one of those categories, you can actually lose aim assist very easily. And not only is it annoying, but if you're in like a serious game, like a tournament or something, it can literally lose you points or even money. The main thing is that if your mouse moves at all and your keyboard or mouse buttons pop up, then your aim assist is literally just gone. I think Fortnite is doing this because they don't want hybrid players. They don't want players that play on controller and mouse and keyboard. So to combat that, if it looks like you're playing mouse and keyboard at all, then they take away your aim assist and your controller for a little bit. This does look like it's something that's temporary and it'll come back after a few minutes, but a lot can happen in a few minutes in Fortnite, and if you don't have aim assist, then it's actually terrible. So to prevent that, make sure you never touch your mouse while you're in game. While you're readying up in the lobby, make sure you ready up with a controller and not keyboard or mouse. If you're in something like a really important tournament, it might be best to just completely unplug your mouse, because even if you do something like shake your desk and then your mouse moves a little bit, that literally takes away your aim assist. That's all it takes. If that does happen by accident, I've seen controller players go and turn their aim assist all the way off, and then they save it, and then they go back to their settings and they turn it all the way back on. But you have to use your controller to do this, and it's very slow. So if you're in any sort of intense situation, you're not going to be able to do that. Now the third tip might seem like common knowledge, but apparently a lot of people still don't know this, and that's that a huge way to improve in Fortnite is to find a way to never have to take your thumbs off the analog sticks. So anyone that's still playing on like the standard controller buttons where you have to take your thumb off the thumbstick to jump or even to edit, you are doing yourself a huge disservice, because that is going to limit your skills so much. That's why literally almost every pro controller player uses paddles or claw. Paddles are extra buttons on the back of your controller that you can remap to face buttons. So like on this controller, I can jump in and edit all without moving my thumbs off the sticks. I can even reset and pull out my pickaxe doing the same thing. Claw players are able to do that as well because they click all their face buttons with their index fingers. But no claw, no paddles players are usually worse at the game because they're not able to do that. The only way to do that as a no claw, no paddles player is to optimize your buttons. But even then, there's only so many buttons that you can click without having to move your thumbs off the stick. So if you want to see a big improvement, use claw, use paddles, preferably 4, use strategic optimized binds, or use a mix of all 3. The fourth tip is something that I don't think is talked about near enough, which is why I'm including it in this video, because of course it's kind of a secret, and that's that controller input delay is probably the second or third most important thing for controller players. If you're unaware, controller input delay is basically the time in between actually pressing something on your controller and it happening in game. It's actually really similar to ping and lag with how it affects your game, but unlike ping, this is actually very controllable. First of all, if you're on an old gen console like an Xbox One or a PS4, there's really no beating the input delay. It's just always gonna be there. On the new gen consoles like the PS5 and the Series X, it's better, but nothing really compares to an actual gaming PC. Delay is also based on the specific controller that you're using. So like the really cheap off-brand controllers, those have terrible delay. But then there's some more expensive controllers like the Victrix Gambit, which is said to have basically no delay. But regardless of your platform, to get the least delay possible, here's what you can do. You want to make sure you're using a wired connection with a good quality cable. Use the least intensive graphics possible. On PC, I'm using performance mode. You can turn off record replays. You want to minimize the amount of background processes that are going on. So even like right now, because I'm actually recording my gameplay, it's giving me more delay. So literally anything like that, if you have videos running in the background or other applications open, whether you're on console or PC, that that'll give you extra delay. So you'll want to make sure to close out of those. And if you're on PC, you can actually overclock controllers, or if you're on an Xbox controller, because it has more delay than PlayStation controller, you can use something like anti-micro and get less delay. The fifth tip is the way that pro players click their touchpad. Claw players have it easy because they can easily just reach over and touch it with either their index fingers. Everyone else is usually taking their thumb off the stick to click it. But how you should click if you're not a claw player is literally just by reaching over the top of your bumper and then clicking it from the top. Any controller with the touchpad has this lip that goes over the top. So if you literally just slide your index finger across the bumper and then you just slightly click down, it's literally so easy to click the touchpad. My touchpad is set to map and I have it set so I can change materials with it. And this literally makes it so much easier to do those things. If you don't play claw or pals, you can even set that to something really important like edit. The next tip is something that a lot of controller players struggle with, and that's just to stay on your same settings. If you've paid attention to top controller players over the last couple years, you might have noticed that nearly all of them are using basically the same settings that they've been on for years. Every time you change the new settings, while it might not seem like a big deal, you have to spend time getting used to them, and they're kind of unpredictable in a way. If you change your settings, it can literally take you weeks on your new settings to get back to the same skill level that you were on your old settings. So you can literally completely eliminate this time and just continue improving if you stay on the same setting. I've been on these same settings for actually a really long time. The only time that I change my settings is to try new ones for a video, but after that video is done, I always go back to these same ones. And the seventh tip is a playstyle tip specifically geared towards controller players, and that is the easiest way to win fights on controller is to play aggressive. Typically, the only players playing aggressive are the super skilled ones, so anytime a player comes across someone playing super aggressive, they get intimidated because they think that they're that really good skilled player. And even if you're really not that good at the game, I'm not that great at the game, but I definitely noticed that even with like a mindset change, like me going into every fight with the attitude that I know that I'm better than this player that I'm fighting, even if subconsciously I know that I'm really not, I have a very high success rate in winning those fights. I have a very low success rate when I go and box up immediately and then just play really scared throughout the fight. Playing aggressive still means playing smart, but it's just playing confidently. In every single fight that you go into, have the mindset that you are better than the player that you're fighting, and the results will speak for themselves. So those are 7 secret controller tips. Hopefully you learned something. Remember to subscribe, use code Carter2K in the Fortnite item shop, and of course don't miss out on NOVOS' offer for a free membership. Thanks for watching, hope to catch you in the next video.